Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction or read through for Tower of God chapter 622, or season 3 episode 205. I am extremely excited because last week's chapter was absolutely incredible, one of the best in a long time, but we've had some pretty good chapters with this flashback. They have been pretty darn solid, but this was really well written. I'll talk about it a bit, but first I want to say that the anime video will, I guess, maybe be up tomorrow. I didn't have time to record. It's almost midnight here recording this, so it's probably up pretty late for you. My internet was out for a bit, and so that threw me behind for a bit. But yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't know if there's anything I'm forgetting. There might be things I'm forgetting. But really quick to go over the last chapter before getting into this one. I guess maybe we'll be getting out of the flashback stuff here, but we'll see. It seems like we're gonna be. I don't know how I feel about that, because the flashback stuff was a lot better than the stuff that was... I mean, I guess the stuff I am really invested in the stuff other than Bamkun and Rak. If Bamkun and Rak can please just stay asleep, please just stay away from things. All of the other characters and plot lines I'm really interested in. It's really just the main trio stuff that just has not been very good. And, you know, the stuff surrounding them, the stuff attached to them kind of gets dragged down with them. But last chapter was incredible because there were so many really good hints when you go through it. Of course, we watching when Enkidu is saying, oh, V told me to do this, V said this, V said that. We can tell that he's lying because it's like, we know you were there. We know she went with you when you were disguised. We know that Tromare was standing there having a conversation with her. He didn't, like, walk up and find you killing her. And there's so many good small hints. Hints that already the week before last I was like, this is kind of an underwhelming ending if Amizu dies this way. I'm like, what if Tromare controlled him? That would be much more interesting. And then we got that, and I'm happy. I thought I was way off mark. I thought that was like a possibility, but probably not something that would happen. But I am pleasantly surprised that we went that way, because this helps Tromare's character a lot. I think that Tromare and the Ten Family Heads in general have been characters that we know they and their descendants have been doing some of the worst stuff ever. Like, I'm talking R-wording people and, like, in mass amounts, killing off entire groups of people, doing just really the worst things, just completely horrible. So sometimes you gotta let your evil characters just be evil. I feel like I don't want the family heads, like maybe one or two here and there, but by and large, I don't want the family heads to be justified that much. Or I don't want them to be justified that much, or them to be made to be... what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want the blow to be softened too much with the family heads being horrible, because we have had hundreds of chapters of them being horrible, and I think you can do what you did with Tromare. Show that when he first met Amizu, he wasn't that way. He was a genuine guy. He was a guy who would see somebody who was hungry and tell them, hey, you can eat this fish. Not just like give them a fish, but also in addition to giving them the fish, say, hey, if you see any more of these, they're good to eat. So again, we see that he was this genuine guy, somebody who would help someone out without that person even asking, and he became a horrible, evil person along the way, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a terrible guy. It doesn't change the fact that Tromare sucks as a person, and I think that's good. Sometimes we need to have our bad guys be evil, and Tromare kind of is. Now, I do think he could have had more reasons for this. Like, right before he uses Enkidu to kill her, Amizu's like, I know what you're doing in that house, and I know what you and Zahard are planning. So he might have been like, oh crap, he might have not really even been planning to kill her ahead of time, for all we know. It could have just been a situation where, like, crap, she knows this, I can't let her join V and Arlen now, and then he kills her. That could have been the case. Maybe he was so shocked looking when Enkidu did it, because what he was shocked at was Edwan showing up and him having to be like, crap, I need to shut Enkidu up now. Because, again, so many hints we have here is that, like, Edwan's like, I'm gonna kill you. And Enkidu's like, oh crap. Tromare's still just standing around the whole time he does this to Amizu and everything. But then then as soon as Edawan's like, I should kill you, but I'm going to ask you questions first. Then Tromare immediately jumps in to stop Enkidu from talking. Then later on, Gastong's like, hey, comes to see him. How are you doing? It's your fault, though. You brought all this about with this Enkidu nonsense. He killed one of our friends. Gastong being a little emotional about it, and Tromare being like, oh, this is horrible. This is so bad. I gotta wipe these memories. And Gastong being like, hold your horses. The only way we can do it is if we wipe all our memories. But first I'm going to interrogate Enkidu. And Tromare's like, well, if you're going to interrogate him, let me come with you. I have this frog who never lies, and the frog who never lies is not quite as advertised. So we go, and we see the whole time that Enkidu's talking about, oh, V told me to do it, this and that. He's very stoic, very even-keeled in his emotions. Like, he's not super expressive. He's being controlled. And here's the thing, we know that that's not like Enkidu, because Enkidu normally is very emotional. When he's like talking about the ring and the proposal, he's like so super boisterous and excited for it. Even though he doesn't really like Amizu that much, he's not like, oh, I really want to murder this lady. Even though he doesn't like her that much, he's still like super excited. And there's all the times that whenever she would do something that he deemed as disrespectful to Tromare, some people think that that's Tromare manipulating him, but I actually don't like that. I like the idea that Enkidu was really offended and really upset every time that she was like, I'm gonna leave him, or every time that she did something that felt like a slight to Tromare, because Enkidu really, really liked and respected Tromare. And I like the idea that those were all his feelings. He was a really emotional guy. He was really upset at all this stuff. But all those times he was upset, he didn't haul off and kill her. The only time he hauled off and killed her, he completely blacked out. And when he came back from blacking out, he was like, oh my god, what have I done? This is horrible. So clearly, this isn't like in character for him necessarily. So we see that again, during this interrogation, he's all expressionless and stuff. That's not the way he is. He's a very emotional guy. And then we see as Gastong and Tromare are walking out of the room, we get that shot of him doing like the Yelena face, and then his like eyes going all bloodshot, like he is just screaming internally wanting to say something but can't. And then of course Tromare saying, yeah, kill him before he can say anything else. But Gastong being the one person to keep him alive, after he tells Gastong, I didn't do this, I can't do this, because of my contract I can't mess with any of the trailblazers, so I can't of my own will kill her. And Gastong is like, why'd I let him live? Is it because that might be true? And I think a lot of people got tripped up by that line, because here's the thing, I think Gastong didn't believe him back then. Gastong still trusted Tromare. Gastong's been Tromare's friend for a long time. Why would he really doubt him that he would be like, that he would kill one of their other close friends and his own wannabe fiance? Like, why would Gastong think that Tromare would do that? Why would Gastong not trust somebody who's been his friend for so long? I think Gastong believed him, but I think the reason that Gastong decided to be the one vote to seal him away instead of kill him is because Gastong's the kind of guy who's like, well, I mostly trust Tromare, but what if there's a chance? What if there's a chance he's telling the truth and Tromare lied? So I think that this could be why Gastong said V's like the worst guy ever back in Floor of Death, and why Gastong, ended up siding with the other family heads and everything, and kept being like at least on decent terms with Tromare, is because I don't think he really believed Enkidu at first. But now, after the N incident, after seeing the way the princess system turned out, after seeing all this other stuff, and he gets his memories back, I think he's like, okay, maybe free Enkidu. Enkidu, like, maybe hashtag free Enkidu. Enkidu is maybe innocent in all this. It could have been Trump. Like, I think he, in the present day, is probably way more suspicious than he would have been back then. So there's that. And I think that's about it. Again, all the hints with Tromare there. Tromare, it being good for his character, that he's kind of evil, and we know that he's plotting things with Sahar away from the others. I think one of the best ideas that people have had with that is that it's related to the red light district, and we know the red light district burned down at some point in the past, so it's not around anymore. But whatever the red light district is might have been something that Zahard and Traumerei did without the others of the group knowing, potentially. Whatever this clone stuff is with the copy Zahards that we see could have been something that they worked on outside of the knowledge of the others. Also, we see Traumerei's lab with a bunch of ancient creatures, and I'm assuming that's what they are because we saw him hunting them on his own, and we have whoever that was there. I think it would make less sense for it to be somebody that we haven't already heard of or don't already know. So I think it is almost certainly Arlen. A lot of people think it's not. Some people think it's Icarus for some reason. I don't think it makes sense for Icarus to be wrapped in with FUG or proto-FUG. To me personally, and I think whatever happened to Icarus is whatever happened on that day. I think when we get into what happened on that day when they stopped climbing and when the people turned on them and did apparently some really horrible stuff, I think that's going to be attached to Icarus. I think maybe the people killed Icarus and that's one of the horrible things that they did. But I think Icarus ties into the day they stopped climbing. So I really think that it's much more likely that that was Arlen. Some people say that her hair looked too light there, but two things. A, it was a really harsh light blue lighting in that scene, and B, her hair color is typically the same as Bomb's, but Bomb's hair color is also a lot lighter in season 3 than it was earlier in the series. It's kind of lightened up, so it might just be a shift in art style thing where the season 3 art style has had Bomb's hair looking lighter than earlier in the series. So I think it was most likely Arlen. But then, of course, they said that Luzlek escaped. You know, maybe after having Enkidu transform and going off, Traumerei just let him go. Maybe he got out on his own while Traumerei was doing the whole Enkidu Amizu stuff, or maybe the person who was in the lab, probably Arlen, bailed him out and they left together. That probably makes the most sense. I want to say he escaped on his own because it makes him sound the coolest, but really probably Arlen helped him. So there's all that. Then, of course, there's a person who cast the spell on the Sprout, and I think it was Viola Azul. I think that's who it was, who was like, it looks like Edwan's silhouette, and a lot of people are like, oh, spell user, it has to be Arlen. And while we know that Arlen is a spell specialist, like specifically, we know that other characters can just use them. I mean, the whole spell sealing circle with the Leviathan memory thing that, Vicente had to sort of undo to have Bomb take in Leviathan, that was like spell related. So it's like all of the family heads at least probably have some basic knowledge of them. And the silhouette looks most like Edwan to me personally, or Dewan. I doubt it was Dewan because it seems a bit early for that if it happened like too soon afterward. Also, Dewan's related to plants though, so who knows, but it feels like she would be like the Sprout. I've been there before. Seems like we would know if it was Dewan by now. But I'm just saying that because it kind of made me notice how similar the hairstyles and the little hair pokey up things that they both have, how similar Dewan and Edwan's their silhouettes are. They have really similar silhouettes. It could have even been V. Could have been Murchia. I don't think it really looks like... I guess it kind of looks like V's silhouette, not really Murchia's, not really Arlen's silhouette to me. Because Arlen has straighter hair than that. So who knows who it was who completely stopped it. It might even... That I could see being a character we haven't met before, more than the person who was in the lab. The person who was in the lab, I think the most likely explanation is Arlen. Second most likely explanation is an like old ancient FUG member that we just haven't even met yet. Maybe the unnamed Slayer. Maybe they're going to be like, that was Pafama Morsetto. Like something like that's, I think, a lot less likely than Arlen, but that's probably second place. And then third place is anything else. So Yeah, I guess that's about it. I wanted to talk through all of that before I continued on this week. Long Haku intro, I know, but last week's chapter was just I basically did a review. I basically just did a full review video off the top of my head. I just wanted to go through yesterday's chapter because it was so good. And the last thing I'll say is that in addition, I kept forgetting to say this, in addition to this being good for Traumare's character in the sense of letting evil characters be evil, we have been told for like dozens of chapters now, they keep telling us, oh, he's the most manipulative family head. He's a master chess player. Gaston might be super intelligent, but, and Edouin might be a tricky guy like the Coons tend to be, but Traumare is manipulative, and we get to see in last week's chapter, we finally get to see that in action. We get to see him being the most manipulative family head, where he is, again, having his friend kill his lover and framing actually framing his friend and using him to frame and implicate V even further. And that, again, could work in Zahart's favor by turning the other family heads against V and Arlen. Because we know that V and Arlen's group split off. The family heads all went to do their own different things because they had different goals once they stopped climbing. But then eventually, for whatever reason, the 10 family heads that we know today came together. They got the team back together to unite against V and Arlen's group. So this could have been a part of that catalyst. Like, if they forgot their memories, it's like, how did this become a catalyst if they forgot? Maybe we'll find out this chapter, because we don't know how much they did or didn't forget. I like the idea, too, of Gaston putting all of their memories of this. We know they have other memories they've put away from time to time, like the Wangman Nen stuff, the stuff that happened on that day. But I think it'd be cool if the incidents of this specific incident were all put into the book by Gaston, and that would explain how that would be like Gaston literally saw what we as readers saw, and he was seeing from these different perspectives because he wrote all the memories into the book. I think that would be a cool way to explain the nature of the flashback, but a lot of it was probably things that Gaston didn't actually see, and we just got privy to as readers because of our, again, omniscient reader's viewpoint. But either way, let's actually get into reading. Sorry about the long intro, but, I just wanted to break down last chapter. It was incredibly good. And then we see, I'm not human. I was forced to do it. Traumare made me kill her in exchange for receiving the administrator's blessing. I'm incapable of killing any of you of my own free will. In that case, Enkidu wasn't the one who killed Amizu. It might have been someone else. And then the decision to kill. Okay, and this isn't a part one, it's just the decision to kill. What do you mean by that? Are you saying Traumare made you kill Amizu? Enkidu. He closes his eyes. Enkidu? Wake up, Enkidu. What did you mean just now? Why'd you say that? After that, Enkidu fell asleep for a long time. Enkidu? Even in the moments when he woke up briefly, he was incapable of speaking in human language. He would just howl like a wild beast and then go back to sleep, like he did when he first woke up in the Sprout arc, this arc. So, I wonder if this is because of Traumare then. If Enkidu pushed that statement out with the last little bit of his, like when he was Yelena facing and like the veins were popping out of his eyes, did he use the last of his willpower to just push out that one statement to Gaston, and that's why he was stuttering a bit, and then like that was all he had time for consciously before he just drifted off. That was all he could break through the control and the mind manipulating or warping long enough to say. My angry companions wanted Enkidu to be destroyed as soon as possible, so I decided to have him sealed away. And that was the end of that. And again, he's asking here, like, what did you mean by that, Enkidu? Again, I think he's still generally, he's like, well, everybody believes Traumare. I guess I think that he generally was like, I guess I have to go along with Traumare's explanation, but he's shocked by this. He thinks there might be a grain of truth to it, and he's like, Gustong's the type of person that if he's not 100% sure, then he's not going to give up that source of information. He's going to keep Enkidu alive just in case. And that was the end of that. And then again, that silhouette that we saw looks so much like Edwan. This outfit's cool looking too. It's just a shame that, again, not to bring the anime into a manhwa video, that they toned down the outfit changes so much in the anime, because there's so many different outfits that we get to see in the manhwa, and they're so good. After that, I never even mentioned Enkidu to Traumare. But my companions believed Enkidu. What? Oh, okay, sorry. They believed they believed the Traumare story. Okay. Yeah, exactly. They were convinced that V was involved in Amizu's murder. So they turned completely against V and his group. Again, yep, this is part of them turning against V. So Traumare, again, being the most manipulative family head, putting that into action. People who had been friends until just recently. Oh, wow. It's the red-eyed guy. Now became enemies. So did this guy turn to side with V? As the person responsible... Yeah, that's weird. Did he turn to side with V for some reason? Huh. Because he didn't believe that... Or did he just say, I'm going off to kill V or something? Because it feels weird, because he was seemingly already on Traumare's side. So it would feel weird for him to defect to V, but I guess they split between people who thought he did it or was involved and people who didn't think he was involved. As the person responsible for recording history, this naturally presented me with a dilemma. Sorry. The truth of what happened that day disappeared along with Enkidu, and I was now on hostile terms with my former companions. I couldn't just take Enkidu's word for it and turn against Traumare as well. Again, yeah, like what I was saying, even if I revealed the truth and exposed Traumare's crime, it wouldn't improve the situation at all, and nothing could change nothing can change that fact. Yeah, that would. If Gustong told everyone, actually, Enkidu said Traumare did it, and I think he might be telling the truth, then that just... Traumare and Zahard are going to be together. That just divides the team further between people who trust Traumare and Zahard and want to stay with them, people who think that Traumare may have betrayed Amizu and framed V. That would just make them split into more groups. I was caught between the pain of having to record the historical truth and my sense of responsibility to create the best possible history. So he chose a history that... I guess he chose a history that would be the kindest to keeping everybody at peace together over what really probably happened. Every day I wavered between these two sides, but in the end I made my decision. I chose simply to forget it all. And he writes it down and tears a page from the book and run away from my pain and responsibility. We all washed our hands of the incident in our own way. We have Edwan drinking. We made ourselves forget. We have this massive flower with Yan Yirang. We have Gustong putting the book away in his library and erased it from our memory. Eventually, we even forgot where those vines first came from. And we see Traumare with Leviathan. So if these are each their individual methods of the memory stuff, I mean, does Edwan just drink to forget? I mean, it's not like we're seeing him seal his memories in anything, unless this is just something that that we're meant to learn about later. Maybe there's something off screen that he's looking at, actually. But I guess this thing involves Yirang sealing her memories. Again, it's kind of vague. This panel's kind of vague. but I feel like it's maybe something we'll learn more about in the future. And then, of course, Leviathan here with Dromare. And that's why there's this sadness and anger remaining inside us. As for me, I continued recording a falsified version of history. And is that the lot library? I was forced to hide the truth in places that not even I would remember. Okay, so yeah. So that's what happened while I was asleep. Quite the coincidence, isn't it? Okay, so was this Enkidu and Bellerir talking? Who would have thought that two people born almost eons apart could share the same body and goal? No kidding. I've been looking for you, but I didn't expect to find you like this. I suppose I should be grateful that things turned out this way. On another note, you say those pricks have all become family heads? That's right. They're practically divine beings within the tower. Little vermin like us aren't even worthy of looking at them. Just being a direct descendant of theirs gives a person tremendous power, and hardly anyone has seen them in person. Huh, it sounds like they've all been successful. It kind of irritates me that everything turned out the way they wanted, but maybe this is for the best. Because the fact that they're all still alive, and we see Enkidu, means I can get revenge against them. Anyway, you said something about a battle taking place on the outside, right? If I remember correctly. And we see Kirin and Robodan. I want to get back to that. I think you mentioned that there are some people trying to become the new 10 Great Family Heads. Yeah, and they want to team up with you. They believe you're the perfect person to fight against the abominable family heads. The bastards who trapped me in here have become the most powerful figures in the tower. And now there's another group of people who seek to replace them and become the new 10 Great Family Heads. How amusing. I couldn't have chosen a more interesting time to reawaken. And then we have rumbling, we see, and Dorothy. Hiding like this really isn't my style. But there's no other choice if I get caught. It's basically game over. Why'd I have to be the king? And is this the frog who never lies? You must be the Irregular's companion. Holy shit. Did you just say something? But you're a frog. What chess piece do you have? A bishop, a pawn, a queen, the knight, or the king? And she looks surprised. Oh, he can discern. I found it. The frog's intuition just reacted to that woman. The frog who never lies. She's the one with the king. Bring it to me, even if you have to kill her to get it. And then Holem runs off. Yes, sir. And he isn't all veined out in this panel. She starts running from the frog. Damn it. Where the hell did that frog come from? And Holen's coming in with his Shinhail. They're coming at me from both directions. This is a really cool panel. And then the attacks are closing in still. That seems like one of those unnecessary panels that I talk about sometimes, where we'll get like multiple panels sometimes during fights that really don't add any visual information necessarily. And then it looks like they were wrapping around where she was, but she bongs out. And goes straight to where Dromare is. It's the leader of the Lopobia family. And she's trapped between him and Holen. Ugh, I'm screwed. Bring me the king. Oh, he's veined out in this panel, though. Yes, Lord Dromare. He's still running after her? The pong isn't working. Could it be? we have Cobalt throwing up the hand signs because of that frog. And then Holen slams down on top of her. How dare you put your filthy hands on me? Stay still. You may be irregular, but as long as you don't resist, I won't kill you, Princess of Zahard. All I want is your chess piece. And then we have the pit. Wow, we cut away there. We're back to Bomb and Gaston. Dumas? Yes, sir. Keep an eye on the irregular for me. And don't touch his chess piece. I'm going to pay a little visit to Tromre. I believe the time has come to kill him. And that's where we end. Okay, so that is interesting. He's going after Tromre, so he'll be the one to protect his own king, essentially. Alright, so it seems like we're getting to family head versus family head stuff. I'm just praying that Bomb and them, it seems like they're just going to sit things out from here. Praying that they actually just sit things out, because I really want to focus on the new 10 family head stuff. The boss showed up like probably a dozen chapters ago, it feels like, and we haven't seen anything from like the boss yet. I still want to see more of Yama and Lobadan and, you know, Dawan and Doom and all of that group and what they're doing fighting Kirin and Revolution and the Pobedal family that's out there. The Gustang and Tromre stuff is interesting, though that kind of feels like a main event kind of thing. But yeah, either way, I guess that's it for this week. Long Haku intro than the reaction itself. Very good though. Let me remove this filter and we can end things here. I liked the chapter. Thought it was good. But yeah, I guess there's not too much more to say that I didn't yap about while reacting. So like if you did like the video, comment down there, or tell me what you thought of this chapter, my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more. Tower of God, much more on the channel. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. If you'd like to help support the channel, it is, if you'd like to help support the channel by dropping a super thanks, it would be appreciated. If you'd like to help support the channel and also get your name at the end of every video, get One Piece videos a little bit early, then you can get joined down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/HakuOfTheTubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular, Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono, Abyss Knight, JA and DD Band, Jerryton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Gold, Slayer Candidates, SGN, Stan Cedar, and Pure Element, Pate Owl. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.